November 9,
From the Berlin Wall
1989,
specifically,
remains
take a look at
etched
the
in the
big
collective memory of the world as the day the Berlin Wall came down, a moment when nearly 3 decades of division between East and West Berlin came to an abrupt, unexpected end. However, this momentous historical occasion unfolded against the backdrop of everyday American television programming, including the schedule of ABC, American Broadcasting Company, one of the major networks of the era. The contrast between the ordinary programming scheduled for that evening and the extraordinary events taking place in Germany created a unique intersection of history and pop culture that would define how millions of Americans learned about and experienced the fall of communism in Europe. Before examining what aired on ABC that night, it is crucial to understand the magnitude of the historical event occurring across the Atlantic. On that November evening, after nearly 3 decades of separation, East and West Berliners breached the wall that forced them apart as East Germany's communist leadership opened the gates, and crowds clamored atop the wall, tearing chunks away from the iconic image of the Iron Curtain. The collapse of the Berlin Wall was not a carefully orchestrated event or the culmination of a military campaign, rather, it was the accidental result of a confused announcement by East German official Gunter Schabowski at a press conference held earlier that evening. When asked when new travel regulations would take effect, Schabowski inadvertently declared that they would take effect, immediately, without delay, setting in motion the greatest symbolic breakthrough of the Cold War. November 9, 1989, fell on a Thursday, a night that held particular significance in ABC's weekly television lineup during the 1989-90 season. The network had carefully constructed its Thursday evening schedule to compete with rival networks NBC and CBS in the highly competitive world of primetime television ratings. While specific details of every program that aired on ABC that particular evening have become difficult to trace with complete precision, the network's overall strategy for Thursday nights provides crucial context for understanding the programming landscape viewers encountered that night. During the fall of 1989, ABC's Thursday evening schedule featured a mix of dramatic series and sitcoms designed to appeal to family audiences and younger demographics. The network had invested substantially in its programming lineup for that season, and Thursday night represented a crucial battleground in the ratings war. The shows that typically aired on Thursday evenings during this period included established sitcoms and dramas that were part of ABC's core lineup, many of which were direct competitors to NBC's powerhouse Thursday offerings. What makes November 9, 1989, particularly interesting from a broadcasting perspective is the collision between scheduled entertainment programming and one of the most significant news stories of the decade. Network executives and news divisions across the country faced immediate decisions about how to handle the Berlin Wall's collapse. Would they interrupt regular programming to provide live coverage of the events unfolding in Germany? How much of the evening schedule would remain intact, and how much would be preempted or redesigned? For ABC News, the fall of the Berlin Wall represented an extraordinary opportunity to demonstrate its news-gathering capabilities and journalistic resources. ABC News anchor Peter Jennings said during a special broadcast that evening, "The wall's opening is perhaps the most important announcement made in Central Europe since the end of World War II, certainly since the wall went up." This kind of comprehensive news coverage necessarily meant that portions of ABC's regular primetime entertainment schedule would be displaced, rescheduled, or heavily interrupted as the network pivoted to cover what many observers would later recognize as one of the pivotal moments marking the beginning of the end of the Cold War. To fully understand what aired on ABC on that evening, it is helpful to examine the broader context of the network's programming strategy for the 1989-90 season. The network was in a competitive position with NBC and CBS, each vying for dominance in the ratings race. ABC had developed a lineup that included several shows destined to become classics of television history, though many would only achieve their peak popularity in seasons to come. The network was experimenting with different formats, including talk shows and magazine format programs that would eventually reshape television in the coming decades. Thursday nights were particularly important for ABC's competitive positioning. The network had built its schedule to include programs that could attract diverse audiences, from family-oriented sitcoms to more sophisticated dramatic offerings. The shows scheduled for Thursday typically represented some of ABC's strongest offerings, designed to hold onto viewers throughout the evening and build momentum heading into the weekend. While the entertainment division of ABC had scheduled its regular programming for Thursday, November 9, the news division was mobilizing resources to cover the unprecedented events in Berlin. The fall of the Berlin Wall was not a gradual process that could be planned for or anticipated with precision. Instead, it unfolded relatively suddenly during the evening hours in the United States, creating a dynamic situation that required immediate decision-making by network executives and news directors. ABC's news operation, like those of its competitors, assembled teams of correspondents and reporters to cover the story. Cameras captured the jubilation in the streets of Berlin, the crowds gathering at the wall, and the symbolic hammering away of chunks of concrete by citizens from both sides of the divide. This footage would become the defining visual imagery of the end of the Cold War era, and networks scrambled to provide their viewers with the most comprehensive coverage possible. The night of November 9, 1989, demonstrates the complex relationship between entertainment television and news events in American broadcasting. While ordinary television programming was scheduled to proceed as normal, the significance of the historical moment ensured that viewers would likely be switching between regular entertainment offerings and special news coverage throughout the evening. This pattern of behavior would become increasingly common as cable news networks expanded their reach and capabilities in subsequent decades. For viewers tuning into ABC that evening, the experience would have been fragmented and dynamic. Some would have seen portions of scheduled entertainment programming before being informed of the extraordinary events unfolding in Europe. Others may have spent the entire evening following news coverage of the wall's collapse. Many would have done both, creating a unique viewing experience that merges personal memory of where they were and what they were watching on television with the larger historical moment they were witnessing. November 9, 1989, represents a unique moment in American television history when scheduled programming was overtaken by events of immense historical significance. While ABC had prepared its regular Thursday evening lineup with popular shows designed to entertain millions of viewers, the actual experience of that night was dominated by the extraordinary news coverage of the Berlin Wall's collapse. The network's response to this situation, balancing entertainment commitments with the news division's compelling breaking coverage, reflects the nature of broadcasting in the late 20th century, where national networks served simultaneously as entertainment providers and news organizations with responsibility to inform the public about major world events. The fall of the Berlin Wall on November 9, 1989, will forever be remembered as a turning point in world history. For millions of Americans, their primary experience of that moment came through television, and ABC played a significant role in bringing those historic images into living rooms across the nation. The contrast between ordinary entertainment programming and extraordinary historical events created a memorable intersection of popular culture and history that continues to resonate with those who experienced it.